Well then, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. We will call to order the subcommittee for Senate File 2263, a bill for an act relating to the carrying, transportation, and possession of weapons and including effective date provisions. So this is a multi-divisional bill that includes a collection of essentially parking lot, weapons in cars, locations, things that we have covered over the years. It was decided to go ahead and put them in a bill and work it through the system. So with that, do we have any opening comments from the senators?
No, I'm just going to wait for comments around the room. Thank you.
Senator?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. We'll go to in-person first. I see several people online. As we work our way around the room here, we will head to online. Then if you would like to speak, please use the raise hand feature when we go to online, and we'll be able to have your input as well. With that, it looks like this may be a good place to start right here. I'll go ahead and there we are. We'll just work our way around the room.
Dave Dotton, School Administrators of Iowa, Rural School Advocates of Iowa, registered as undecided on the bill. Of course, we're concerned with the part about the schools. I think it's Section 5 or something like that. And concerned about potential insurance issues and liability, but look to hear more about what the intent of the bill is. Thank you.
We're starting the other way. Emily Piper with the Iowa Association of School Boards. We're registered against the bill. We have some real concerns about opening it up to allow someone to be carrying around the school on the parking lots, sidewalks, driveways. And I'll just use as an example, a parking lot right by an athletic facility. They're there for a game and they forget, they take the gun in with them. I mean, who's policing all of this? And what kind of potential dangerous situations could it create? I will say this, I'm much more comfortable with the bill in the House, which says that if you are dropping off or picking up someone at school and you have a permit and it's concealed and contained in the vehicle and it doesn't leave the vehicle, that is a much more comforting approach if that's what you're interested in trying to address.
Hi, Jillian Carlson, Iowa Board of Regents. We're registered undecided on the bill, but we do have concerns with Division 3, which allows students to have dangerous weapons in their vehicle on our campuses. Sometimes students don't visit their vehicles on a regular basis. Vehicles can be left unattended for weeks, months, sometimes even the whole semester. And so we do have concerns with this, combined with the fact that we do experience theft in vehicles on our campus. We also have concerns about specific facilities such as the University of Iowa hospitals and clinics, and parking lots where tailgates take place. So would appreciate this portion of the bill being removed, but also happy to work with you on language to make sure specific safety measures are put in place.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Richard Rogers, Iowa Firearms Coalition, and we strongly support the enactment of Senate File 2263. This is an area that we've worked on for several years. The main thrust of this bill, several provisions which have previously passed the House, in substantially the same form, is to eliminate some of the few remaining phony no-gun zones in Iowa law. Such phony zones are those where a malum prohibitum statute or regulation purports to ban firearms, but no comprehensive security, adequate screening for weapons and armed security personnel is in place to enforce the rule. It's well documented. In fact, they provide only an illusion of security. It's well documented that many twisted souls who aspire to mass murder deliberately target such places, expecting that they will face no armed resistance. The phrase shooting fish in a barrel is apropos here. Such rules serve only to disarm honest citizens whose compliance often forces them to forego having their normal personal defensive tools available from the time they leave home until they return, no matter how long their day or how many or what other sorts of other places they have to visit. I'm going to gloss over Division 1, 2, and 3. I will say in 3, in 4, no, it's in 2, the foster care vehicles with foster children in them. There's no reason to prevent foster children from receiving the same care or security or care for their security that parents of natural and adopted children provide. As to the universities and so on, this only applies in vehicles on their property and not in other types of buildings and so on. Also, it is not illegal to have a weapon on the property of a school or a community college now, It is against the rules, so you can be sanctioned if you're a student or a vendor or an employee. I guarantee you there are weapons in those places. Division 4, that just changes the name. It's misleading. It causes problems. Weapons-free zones, they're not. It doesn't change the effect of the law whatsoever. But the most controversial areas, obviously, the schools, Division 5, exception to 724.4B, allowing people to carry a concealed pistol revolver on the parking lots and driveways of school district. This was enacted in 1995 at a time when Iowa's laws did not truly respect or recognize even the right to bear arms as a right. It rather was treated as a privilege that might be granted within strict limitations. In recent years, that failure has been largely rectified by changes in Iowa law, our constitutional amendment to protect the right to keep bear arms, and since 2008 by a series of U.S. Supreme Court rulings. Courts made clear that Second Amendment rights are not second-class rights. The Second Amendment protects the right to carry a firearm in public for self-defense, and that shall not be infringed is the Second Amendment's, quote, unqualified command. When the law was enacted, likely no more than 25,000 Iowans had permits to carry across the entire state. So the new law affected relatively few people. However, by 2020, that number had risen to about 425,000 Iowans, a great many of whom actually carry a personal firearm throughout their day as a matter of routine. Many of them need to visit a school, some of them frequently. To comply with the law today, they must either leave their gun at home or else, before entering upon school property, access their firearm, unload it, place it either in a closed and fastened container or securely wrapped package too large to be concealed upon their person, or in the trunk or cargo compartment. Upon leaving the school property, they will then have to reverse the process. All of this is called administrative handling of the firearm. And when repeated countless times by many people over a long period of time in the confined space of a vehicle, it's far more likely to result in negligent discharge, perhaps with children in the car, than is leaving a firearm in a well-fitted holster where it may rest undisturbed for an entire day. Unfortunately, too many people fail to comply with the law either through ignorance, despite our efforts to educate them, our organization's efforts, or through willful disregard, believing there's little chance of being discovered and no actual harm will occur. Adding this exception will both avert the need for excessive administrative handling and cease virtually inviting Iowans to commit a felony. The amended law will remain in full compliance with the Federal Gun-Free School Zones Act. Currently, loaded guns may be carried with permission of the school and by law enforcement, licensed security guards, county attorneys, and others. Legislation likely to pass this year will add judicial officers, attorneys in the Attorney General's office, retired law enforcement officers, and members of the General Assembly. Peace officers commit serious crimes at a very low rate compared to general population. There's no public concern that they're generally armed everywhere they go, whether on or off duty. Yet long-term studies have repeatedly shown that law enforcement officers commit serious crimes 6 to 10 times more frequently than do holders of carry permits. If legislators can be allowed to carry inside a school, why can't these folks who've all passed FBI background checks be trusted to carry outside of school? Thank you very much. And I'm happy to answer any questions about the other divisions if you'd like.
Thank you.
Melissa Peterson with the Iowa State Education Association. We're registered in opposition, in particular to Division 3 and Division 5. Division 3 for some of the very same reasons you heard the regents explain, as we represent community college instructors and support staff, and the Division 5 because we don't think we're going to make things safer by permitting weapons, quite frankly, in areas we consider to be high tension areas, which includes parking lots of a school district, for example. So that's why we are opposed. Thank you.
Margaret Buckton with the Urban Education Network, also opposed to Division 5. In large urban districts, we have a lot of people and individuals who practice their skill regularly, still in high tension situations, might have an accident and hurt somebody not intended. And then we think about people who don't practice regularly, who are concealing that weapon. And we have concerns in those high tension areas. Sometimes there's conflict in the school that works its way out to the parking lot. Sometimes the conflict comes to the parking lot from an athletic event or other place. I would also say that I have mixed emotions about the liability protection. Generally, we want schools to be protected from liability. But if it's a staff member who is shot and the family loses that livelihood, if it's a student and their family has to suffer the consequence, now they have to endure the loss and then no compensation for that. And if we just don't have the guns there in the first place, I think they'll be safer. There's a perception of safety without the gun there as well. Thank you.
Connie Ryan with Interfaith Alliance of Iowa Action Fund, and we are registered strongly opposed to this legislation. If I could have clicked on it 10 times, I would have. And I want to give you some data, because I know you like data, from the K-12 school shooting database. And it's unfortunate, as my colleague whispered to me, that we have to have a database like this. But one shooting is too many. One shooting on school grounds is too many. But the number of shootings on school grounds in 2016, and the data goes back to 1966, but I'm not going to do all of that for you. 2016, there were 50 school shootings on school grounds. 2017, 60. 18, there were 119. 2019, 124. 2020, 116. I can get all of this for you. 2021, 257. In 1 year, we jumped from 116 to 257. In 2022, 308. In 2024, 336. Last year, 233. And this year already, we have 18. The top 2 situations for school shootings is escalations of a dispute from somewhere else, 1,059 across the country. Accidental shootings, 310. Suicide or attempted suicide, 170. The location on school grounds matters. The parking lot is the highest. So we're talking about a bill that would allow guns in parking lots. And as my colleagues have said, that can be bring with it tensions from other places. Front of school is the second largest location, largest number, and then beside the building. So all outside locations are the highest numbers of school shootings over that amount of time. So we strongly urge you to resist this legislation, and particularly divisions 4 and 5. Thank you.
Good morning. J.D. Davis with the Iowa Association of Business and Industry. We're registered monitoring the bill. We're paying particular attention to Section 1, which is the access to parking lots, and C, as drafted today, that is for cities, counties, and schools, and not private property, and that's the folks that we represent. So for that purpose, we are neutral on the bill.
Thanks, sir.
I'm sorry, more there.
I'm not sure we have anyone.
No, there's no one
I
else.
think we're.
I'll take it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we've been around the room. I see no hands up online. Is there anybody who would like to speak? 15 minutes in. Oh, there we go. Is that Nicholas? No, Nicholas. Yes, Nick. Go ahead. You can unmute and go ahead.
Okay, I really appreciate it. My name is Nick Bougie. I'm the NRA. Like you said, there's several sections. All of it, common parking lots, with frequent, with the colleges, things that maybe live on the other side.
He's breaking up.
Iowa has institutions that.
Hey, Nick, hold up for a second here. We have the volume keeps wanting to drop on its own on your voice, and we're trying to figure it out real quick.
Yeah, if you can make sure you just are holding very still in the same position with your microphone. Oh, it might be on our end.
I think it's, yeah, our end keeps wanting to drop. And we can't even hold it there, it looks like. Speakers. Yeah, I don't know if that I don't know if that did it. Call in on the phone.
It's definitely on our end.
I'm
Available and connected.
extremely tech savvy.
All right. All right. Well, we are going to try to go ahead. Nick, go ahead, and if you would continue, and we'll do our best to keep the volume up. But we're going to miss some parts, but it's only fair you get a chance to try.
Okay, well, and I'll try to keep it short. even have folks come out and keep our doors up, allow them to take advantage of no hunting, not in the case of sounds like a.
Senator, how about this calls me on put on speaker? Oh, can we do that?
I think that opens up.
Nick, we're gonna if you could call Richard Rogers, we'll put you on speaker by a microphone. So I think Richard's calling you, or you should.
No, go ahead, call me.
Nick, call Richard. We're still just 16 minutes in.
Nick?
Yeah.
Okay,
All
I'll
right.
put you next to a microphone. You're, go ahead.
All right. Can you guys hear me better now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. All right. Well, I apologize for that. So, most of these parking lots in this bill, they're fairly frequently visited parking lots, or parking lots that you may have to visit throughout your day, or to get documents or things like that. When it comes to colleges, I was saying that, a lot of our students, maybe they live across the state, or I'd like to think Iowa has fairly attractive institutions where people are coming from out of state, and I think that it's only fair that they're allowed an option to have a firearm with them, whether that's for self-defense or hunting purposes. I myself went to a school where we were allowed to have guns in our vehicles and in lockers, and we went hunting every weekend. It was 6 hours from home. So, but when it comes to schools, K through 12 schools, I think that's the part of the bill we're mainly focused on. What we're talking about, I think that both the people of Iowa with permitless carry and the legislature have encouraged carry for self-defense. You've also passed a very good preemption law, which gives the state the power to make laws on where you can and can't carry, and not municipalities. What we're essentially doing here, and what we're talking about, is if I leave my house and I'm dropping my kids off at school, I'm legal everywhere during my day except for that school parking lot. And so what it's forcing parents to do is to not carry the rest of the day, because I don't want to break the law when I pull in and I drop off my kids to school. So it's legal when I leave my house. It's legal when I leave the school parking lot, or vice versa. I want to go see my kid's basketball game, or there's a school play or a band concert, and why I can't leave work too early to drive back home, drop off my firearm, and then drive back to the school. So the state has determined it's legal in every other part of my day. I guess what we would be asking is that you also make it legal when we're picking up and dropping off our kids from school, when we're going to their band concerts or their athletic events. We're keeping it. We're not asking here that this bill doesn't allow you to carry it into the school. It says, hey, we want you to be responsible. We want you to lock it in your vehicle. If you leave the parking lot area, and as Richard pointed out, when you look at there's a lot of statistics and stuff that were discussed today. We're talking about a very small percentage of the population here, and when you look at that data, permit holders are more law-abiding than law enforcement officers on average. This is a very responsible group of firearm owners. They've met the requirements to have a permit, and they should be able to use that permit and not be stopped because they want to be a good parent and drop their kid off at school or attend an event. And so I would ask that you support this bill, and I appreciate your time.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to go ahead and hang up Richard's phone.
Perfect, thanks.
Alrighty. Well, there we go. We did get it to work. I don't see any other hands up, so we will go ahead and move on to the senator's comments with 21 minutes. And then the following subcommittee is the same subcommittee, I believe, and just a lighter, or I think a less controversial subject. So we've been around. Comments, either? Who would like to go?
Oh, sure. So I'm in support of the bill, and I do have very few comments. Basically, I will say the age-old saying, when and where guns are outlawed, only outlaws will have guns. These are responsible gun owners. These are in areas, when there's a so-called ban on guns in a particular area, then outlaws know that those guns are banned, and that's when they can show up basically knowing that others will be unarmed. So I think that the full 5 sections of the bill are important, but mainly Section 3, I think that allows that responsible gun owner to act in a responsible way without being infringed. And so as a Second Amendment supporter for my entire time here at the legislature, and with bipartisan support in my district, I'll be supporting this bill 100%. So thank you.
Senator?
Well, I will not be supporting this bill. I sympathize with all of the comments made by all of our educational representatives here. School shootings are pandemic, I would say. They have grown from, I believe the figure from the Interfaith Alliance was 50 in 2016 to 333 last year. That's nearly a 7-fold increase. This is not a venue where we want to see more people having more guns. Parking lots in particular can be places of conflict, whether it's conflict over a parking space or whether it's a result of some incident as a tailgate celebration, or whether it's a continuation of some other sort of dispute that started elsewhere on campus. Parking lots are not inherently safe. They are inherently open, in fact, and more vulnerable to irrational action and uncontrolled behavior. It is certainly true that our schools, I'm thinking particularly of community colleges and universities, we have young people in near adult age who may not have achieved a full degree of control of their emotions and their behavior. I think that's a particularly dangerous situation. I would also point here to in Division 5, it says the school shall be immune from any claim, cause of action, or lawsuit for a person seeking damages. What that means is if you have a victim of a school shooting, the school can't be held responsible. That victim may have no recourse whatsoever. Okay? It's bad enough that we have victims, but we want them to have, if someone is a victim of a shooting, we want them to have some sort of recourse. And if some degree of negligence or fault is attributable to the school, we don't want them simply to be granted immunity by fiat. I think they need to be held accountable. So for all of those reasons, I can't support this bill.
Well, it almost feels some of the drama, the strong language, a little condescending tones, bring me back to 17, 18, and 19. I mean, I kind of actually got a little nostalgic there for a little bit. I'm going to support it. I do have a touch of concern. The students' cars on Regents that are left unattended are not a place to have. It's just my monthly NRA magazine for all of my life has had don't store your gun in your car. So I think what the spirit of the bill is mostly as you go about your day, there's no reason you cannot have, as an American and an Iowan, a legally possessed carried weapon with you. I mean, that's just common sense. Some of the conflated trying to blur lines between folks who do shootings who are not these people. I just have to chuckle that to try to conflate somebody dropping off a lunch and who has a concealed carry permit has gone through a background check, conflating that with a mentally ill person who dresses as people that they're not and causing this damage, or gangbangers on nearby streets that happen to be close to a parking lot being counted as school shootings even after hours. I've seen how the numbers have been expanded because they changed the definition of shootings. I'm not going to allow, without comment, I mean, certainly somebody can say it, but they'd be wrong, that having a concealed carry permit going through the background check, statistically the safest demographic that we have, regardless of age or gender and sex, is just, it's just unspeakably incorrect to say that we're adding to the danger here. What we're doing is allowing people to go about their day, provably safe. It's just some of what I've heard just makes me want to run the bill even more. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and sign it. I am asking for some stats as far as some activities on Regents. I'll update folks as I get some of that. So I'm still looking there. But this is a collection of things that either the House has already passed, we've considered and liked and just didn't get involved, or it was in an omnibus that we decided that we didn't have time to get done. So we're focusing on parking lots. With that, I will go ahead and adjourn the subcommittee. So